This is what happens when you don't release a Spider-Man trailer, Sony. Maybe if you finally locked in, people wouldn't be so desperate to hack in and leak all of these insane photos. Then again, Sony basically gets hacked every day that ends in Y. We all remember the No Way Home era.
Look closely at Tobey Maguire's dick.
It is a rite of passage for Spider-Man movies to get leaked. I'm pretty sure their password is just 1234 at this point, and thank God, because the stuff we're seeing is putting the biggest smile on my face, and keeping me sane until we finally get that trailer. At first, I didn't know if I should trust these leaks, but then this piece of officially licensed promo art released, basically confirming every single one of them, so you know what that means. It's time for me to talk for way too long about still images. So on that note, let's just jump into the leaks before they find out what I'm doing and beat me to death with my own arms. We are already running out of time. Let's kick things off with Spider-Man himself, because the web slinger is back and better than ever. I truly believe he has never looked better than this. We get to see him more than anyone else in all these leaks, which, I mean, makes sense. It's a Spider-Man movie after all, but my god, does he look good. I especially love how he's posed up in all of these pictures. It feels like Spider-Man was ripped straight out of the comics in the unreal way he moves. It's almost McFarlane-esque in a way, as he's hitting these poses that nobody can hit in real life. And I really love the angularity of the lenses. It gives him such an intimidating presence that really fits this new era for the character, where he's going to be more depressed than ever, which is right up my alley. I want him to be as miserable as possible for as long as possible, so this is a great indicator of that. But here's the thing. What's so funny about all this promo art is that it's a weird amalgamation of the No Way Home suit and the Brand New Day suit kind of spliced together. Except for this one, which very clearly just uses the Homecoming suit as a template. But for pictures like this, there are a few key differences that make it really easy to tell they've just edited the No Way Home suit. For starters, the costume in Brand New Day has a brick texture pattern to it and slightly different webbing, along with a longer logo, while the No Way Home suit has a pointed belt, no web shooters, and a shinier blue hue. So basically, Sony just got lazy and reused the No Way Home pics they already had to make all this promo art, which is pretty standard for them. They have a long history of reusing assets, so this doesn't really surprise me, especially with how similar the costumes are. You can only really tell the differences if you're a chronically online Spider-Man fan, and yeah, I'll accept that here. I know there have been a ton of rumors about Peter getting organic webbing based on one scene from the leaked trailer where Peter does have organic webbing, and some people have taken the lack of web shooters here as a confirmation of that, but I think it's all a big misunderstanding. Obviously, it's hard to be certain because Sony refused to release the trailer and the leak was recorded on a fried potato, but I'm 99% sure that scene in the trailer is a dream sequence, probably based on some scorpion toxin he was injected with, so I wouldn't take that at face value, especially considering that we just established the promo art is based on the No Way Home suit, which did not have any of those web shooters, so it's clear to me that they just haven't gone out of their way to edit them onto the costume. But most importantly, in literally every single set photo, he had the big clunky web shooters on his wrist, so that's very reassuring to me that he's going to have them throughout the entire film, and rightfully so. I have never been a big fan of Spider-Man having organic webbing. It feels like such a cop-out. Not only is Peter making his own web fluid a great way to reflect just how smart he is, but it also creates something that can run out at any point and adds a lot of drama and tension to a scene. I think that element of chaos is so much more interesting than just him being able to do that naturally. Wait, hold on. I just noticed what that says. What a crazy sound effect. So even in spite of the fact that we don't see the web shooters in that promo art, I'm still hopeful that Brand New Day will continue to have Peter make his own webbing. And he's gonna need all the webbing he can get going up against Tombstone in this film, because look at this picture right here. I cannot believe this one is real, and trust me, it is. I ran this and all the other pictures through like 7 different AI detectors, and I can assure you this one is the real deal. Never thought I would say this sentence, but I know some people had problems with this picture because they looked at Spider-Man's ass and didn't think it lined up with Tom Holland's, but I have spent countless hours researching pictures, looking through every possible angle, and I have determined that it's probably just a stunt guy, because I would bet all of your lives that picture is 100% real and our most tangible leak yet. It's not just promo art or merch like all these other pictures we're gonna get to, but an actual behind the scenes set photo giving us our first look at Tombstone, and he looks flawless. Outside of Spider-Man himself, Tombstone is far and away the best looking character we've seen in this movie. His design is better than I ever could have imagined it. From head to toe, he looks incredible. Is it too soon to say that Marvin Jones III is generational casting? Because just take one look at him, dude, and that is literally Tombstone. The casting is so good, it is going to transcend mediums. I know Tombstone is just an albino guy in a suit, so it's kinda hard to mess up that kind of costume, but I am so glad they went out of their way to give him the spiky flat top hair. I genuinely didn't think think they would do it and they just go with his shiny bald head, which would have worked in its own right, but this is a very welcome surprise that goes the extra mile to really make him look like Tombstone. Even down to the padded costume, he feels like the larger-than-life walking brick wall mob enforcer that he should be, and I cannot wait to see him kick Spider-Man's ass, even if it is flatter than usual. What's especially cool about this picture, though, is that they are recreating a Spider-Man comic cover, which I always love to see. It's a clear sign that the creative team did their research as they pay homage to the comics like this, shouting out the source material by directly referencing it, and just seeing them side by side, you can really tell how much they nailed Tombstone's design. More than anyone else in this movie, I really want Tombstone to be the big bad that gets the final fight at the end of the film. With Kingpin now publicly the mayor of New York City, and who knows how Born Again Season 2 leaves him off, it feels like we're on the verge of a power vacuum in New York City, and Tombstone is the perfect guy to fill that. I really want to see him step into the spotlight and be the guy pulling all the strings in this film as he hires Scorpion and Tarantula and Boomerang to go kill Spider-Man. But what's so exciting to me about Tombstone is that he's pretty much an equal threat for Spider-Man, Hulk, and the Punisher. Alright, maybe not equal for the Punisher, he could flatten him like a pancake, but it evens the playing field as Peter finally has a villain he doesn't have to hold back against, only for it to do so little to him as Tombstone just shrugs it off, and Punisher's bullets are going to do nothing to him. Although, I would like to see him hit Tombstone with the Punisher van as hard as possible. I think that would be so funny. Hulk is going to be the only real threat to him in this movie, but once he goes savage, he's basically taken that playing card off the table, and I really hope that leaves us with a Spider-Man and Tombstone fist-to-fist fight scene at the end, especially considering that this movie has Jackie Chan's stunt team involved and the choreographer from Shang-Chi. You can't tell me that wouldn't be the coolest fight scene in Spider-Man history. It would solidify this as the street-level Spider-Man story we need, as we just get to see these two beating the crap out of each other. And while we're on the topic of the Hulk, we might as well dive into the fact that Savage Hulk is back, baby! Let's go! Man, you are as beautiful as the day I lost you. It is so nice to finally see the Hulk embrace his anger again. Even if they are too cowardly to give us the purple pants, but at least the back shots are real. I didn't mind the Professor Hulk era as much as other people did. I think it was a good way to wrap up his arc in the Infinity Saga, but I'll be the first to admit that it did kneecap Hulk's storytelling for a bit since it cut him off from what makes him most interesting, his dissociative identity disorder. This appearance in Brand New Day is going to be a return to form with a proper Savage Hulk for the first time in what, almost a decade if we're going by Ragnarok? And even that's a stretch too, because Hulk was kind of civilized in that film, so this is long overdue, and they are making that wait worthwhile because these subtle design changes they've made are great and go a long way to show this new status quo for the character. I really like the choice to lean more into giving the Hulk Ruffalo's curly hair and making it all disheveled to show the chaos within him, but by far my favorite thing about the new Hulk design is that his face is no longer just big green Mark Ruffalo. The Hulk design has quietly undergone a lot of changes over the course of the entire MCU, going from being more toned in the Incredible Hulk to feeling like a savage beast in the Avengers, until they eventually settled into this new design where they based the Hulk face off of Mark Ruffalo. I definitely think it worked for what they were going for with the Hulk at that time, but this face is a big improvement to give the Hulk his own distinct design again. They've given him more exaggerated, monstrous features to make him look more primal, which is great. He's still recognizably Mark Ruffalo, but the changes they've made to the face go a long way in making him stand out on his own now. The Hulk feels like his own individual character, which is how it should be. And I know this is just a single expression to go off of, and I'm already reading way too much into this, but he looks pissed, and I love that. I still haven't really cracked the code on how Banner fits into this movie, outside of the fact that it's clearly going to be a story about rage with the Hulk, Spider-Man, and Punisher all in it, but I'm really pulling for his introduction in the film to be as one of Peter's teachers at Empire State University. It's a very easy way to build that connection naturally, especially after Peter just cut himself off from the rest of the world. But if there's anything I want to see with the Hulk in this movie, it's that they finally explore the ramifications of Professor Hulk and how Banner wasn't diagnosing his dissociative identity disorder properly. Creating Professor Hulk wasn't merging the brain and the brawn, it was suppressing one alter in favor of the other. He tried to fix a mental health problem using science and ended up just completely cutting off that alter entirely, which is not a healthy decision, and I think Banner needs to come to that realization as he prioritizes his mental health. Less trying to find a fix or a workaround for his condition, and more so trying to understand and accept who he is. And now that the Savage Hulk alter is back, he should rightfully be pissed at Banner for ignoring him for so long. It creates the natural conflict and drama we've been missing out on with the Hulk for so long, and also gives us a really interesting spin on identity that can help Banner relate with Spider-Man more. Just don't have Peter unmasked to Bruce, that's all I ask. Up next, let's talk about somebody I have been dying to speak on, Boomerang. He looks so stupid, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. This is so peak. I have such a big grin on my face looking at this design here. I still can't believe we are going to see Boomerang, of all characters, in an MCU Spider-Man movie. That feels like something they'd only have the guts to do in a gag, and yet here we are, to the point where he's being featured in all of the promo art, a clear indication that he's going to play an impactful role in the movie. What a time to be alive. This is a dream come true, especially with how gorgeous his costume is. I really love the decision to merge his two main comic designs together to give us this outfit. Not only does it look great, but it creates something new that sets it apart as an adaptation, all while honoring what came before. More than maybe any other character, you can tell they put a lot of thought into this design, as it has the base of his modern look with a vest mimicking that old design and a nice purple color that's gonna pop on screen. I genuinely could not imagine him looking better than this, even down to the comically large boomerangs. They have completely committed to the bit, and we are all better off for it. I'm really excited to see him fight Spider-Man, especially with Peter relentlessly making fun of him for being a boomerang-themed supervillain. I don't care what happens in this movie. I need a moment where Boomerang thinks he's finally foiled Spider-Man, throwing his boomerang and waiting for it to come back around to hit him, only for Peter to use his spider sense to dodge it so that Boomerang comes flying right back into his face. You can't tell me that wouldn't be the funniest thing ever if he designed this entire gimmick as a way to get around Peter's spider sense, and then it just completely falls on his face. Yeah, you're seeing the vision. I see that smile on your face. I'm looking at the camera through your phone. I'm watching you. Yeah, hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah, good boy. No, I'm sorry, that made it weird. Moving on from that, I don't think they're gonna do the story where Boomerang is Peter's roommate, although I do think it would be really fun if Peter finally makes a new friend only to realize they are a super villain and trying to keep that double life intact. He'll probably just be featured in that opening montage, and then hopefully they have this prison break scene I've been theorizing, where Boomerang gets out and then is employed by Tombstone as this second chance to kill Spider-Man. That would be really exciting, especially if Peter's the one who accidentally causes that prison break. That would cook. Then we've got somebody like the Scorpion, and first of all, this is extremely surreal to look at. It is such a long time coming to finally see Michael Mando don the Scorpion armor after 9 long, agonizing years of waiting to see that payoff. As for the actual costume itself, I'm a little more conflicted than I'd like to be. I do like the body of the suit. Mechanical Scorpion is where it's at, and while I wish it was brighter, the green color definitely works for the costume, but the tail is what I get most conflicted on. I do think the stinger looks great, it's just the actual spine of the tail that's gonna take some getting used to. I think the idea to pattern it like a spine of an actual scorpion tail with the piping is an interesting and even inspired idea, but I'm really gonna need to see how it moves in live action before I can make a proper judgment. And considering that the tail is the defining element of the Scorpion costume, I'm not in love with it at first glance, but I do think there's some potential for it to give us some cool movement. It's just that we're kind of stuck with this PNG, so what are you gonna do? I can live with the tail though, I see what they're going for. The biggest problem I have with this costume though is that there's no helmet. I cannot wrap my head around that idea that they would exclude his mask. Scorpion isn't like the Green Goblin or Doc Ock. His costume is very simple. It's a green suit with a mask and a tail. There are literally 2 things about this costume that make him stand out, so to see one of them gone entirely, I mean, what are we doing here, guys? Hopefully that's just for the promo material to show off Michael Mando's mewing face, but I really need to see him wearing that at some point in the movie. Even if he gets that mask ripped off at some point in the final act of the movie, like what happens with every single Spider-Man story, as long as he has that for the first act, I'll be satisfied. Because as it stands right now, the entire costume feels like something is missing without it there. And I think that if you included the mask, like in this great edit somebody did, it would tie the entire costume together and it would look much more like the Scorpion rather than just Michael Mando in a green suit with some PVC piping. And also, we gotta remember, Scorpion is just getting out of prison, so this costume is clearly going to be a prototype, meaning that we could see a more accurate Scorpion suit in the future. I get what they're trying to do, so I'm not gonna judge it right away, but they do need to win me over more. All that being said, Scorpion is by far the villain I'm most looking forward to seeing in this movie. He's the last big pillar of Spider-Man's rogues gallery to not be featured in live action, so seeing him in this film is going to be a monumental achievement for that alone, but the fact that we've got an actor as talented as Michael Mando playing the Scorpion means we're gonna see some incredible performances. I need him to tap into that Far Cry 3 insanity and tie it all together with that Better Call Saul charm, because we would see one of the best villain performances of all time. I'm very confident he's going to play a big role in this movie, as we've already seen him being transported in set photos, and I feel like he's going to be the centerpiece between Peter and Frank's argument on what to do with these criminals. You can have Frank trying to kill him during that prison transfer, while Peter is actually going out of his way to protect this guy who wants him dead, and maybe in the crossfire that's how the prison break happens and Scorpion is finally set free to get his revenge. It's a lot of moving pieces, but if you play your cards right, they can all come together to create a really exciting story about responsibility as Peter is finally forced to go face to face with the Scorpion, and then inevitably get stung and go on the worst trip of his life. I need the Scorpion toxin hallucination to give Mysterio's illusion a run for its money and how much it messes up Peter's mental health. While Mysterio's illusion leaned more into intimidation and psychological manipulation, I need this Scorpion trip to be a horror scene. Make that boy suffer! Also, final leak we gotta talk about. Tarantula is in this movie. That's insane in its own right. Live-action Spider-Man movies are so often reserved for the big A-list characters. I would say that the least popular villain we've had before now is the Tinkerer. So I think it's really cool to see Brand New Day bring in these new characters like Boomerang and Tarantula. It immediately makes the movie feel fresh as we're seeing something we have never seen before. And looking at his costume as it is, I think he looks pretty sick. I love the colors. That vibrant red is spot on, and the cloth suit fits him perfectly. I think they made a great choice on the material. The big takeaway for me, though, is that they did the foot blades and they look great. It's another very silly design choice, but they are going all out in doing these over-the-top ideas, and I think it's going to give us some really unique fight scenes watching Peter try and deal with all that. While they did a phenomenal job bringing in those foot blades, I do have to say that I'm not in love with the vest instead of the logo. Even if the vest is supposed to be a practical version of the logo, I completely get it. It almost works. I'm just kind of tired of not fully embracing a design. The main character of this movie walks around with a spider on his chest. Why can't the villain? You've already gone so far as to give him this design, you might as well go all the way. Especially with the fact that they covered up his beautiful face. I want to see that mustache. That is much more important to me than the foot blades. We need his twiddly little mustache. But hey, maybe half of his mask comes off at one point and we get to see that mustache. Who knows? There are so many different tarantulas with so many different motivations in the comics, but if I had to take a guess, I assume he's going to be a mercenary working for Tombstone like pretty much everybody else in this movie, which is going to be really cool. It's so nice that we're going to see a full rogues gallery for Spider-Man on screen as they all try to kill him and make his life miserable in their own unique ways. There is truly nothing better than that. Real quick, I do want to mention though how there's noticeably no Punisher in any of these leaks, which is kind of funny considering how big of a role he's going to play in the movie, but I assume it's an age rating thing. Punisher is much more of an adult character. We all saw what he did in that prison, so I guess they're trying to avoid putting him on all the packaging like these other characters. It's a lot easier to market a silly guy with boomerangs than a guy with a minigun when you're trying to meet an age rating. I mean, this is the same guy who only has one Lego minifigure to his name that he got in 2021, so we should have seen this coming. It's a shame we haven't seen him, especially because I really want to see that costume in all of its glory, but I know the movie is going to make up for it with how much we do see the Punisher, and that sounds peak to me. His back and forth with Spider-Man is going to be really fun. I cannot wait to see more of that dynamic. Peter is a lot more unforgiving than Daredevil. He's going to call Frank out when he has to, and I'm rubbing my hands together in excitement, getting ready for that. It really seems like we're going to be getting the street-level Spider-Man movie of my dreams, and a film that openly embraces everything we love about Spider-Man. From the colorful characters to the grounded, relatable, and emotional storytelling to the larger-than-life action, this movie is going to heal me as a person. We are on the verge of seeing the purest form of Spider-Man on screen, and I am itching to see it like an addict who hasn't had their hit in weeks. Spider-Man is my drug, and those monsters at Sony are hiding him from us. The Spider-Noir trailer was great and all. That show was really surprising me, and I'm genuinely hyped for it, but I am greedy, and I need more Spider-Man. Where's the trailer, guys? Please! It has been a month and a half since the leak, and every single day, I have waited to see that trailer. You cannot just go and hide it from me. Give me what I want! You expect me to try and wait until March? What do you think I am? Sony, you have 48 hours before I step in and free us from this prison of anticipation and uncertainty. I am prepared to do horrific and unspeakable things to finally see that footage in HD. Do not test me. But what do you think about all these Brand New Day leaks? I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you don't do it, I'm gonna leak your home address and tell everyone you have the trailer. You have 5 minutes to hit those buttons before there is a mob outside your house. Choose wisely.